get saved. Amen. You may be too poor to take a flight to another place, or you may be too poor to afford an automobile or a home or even food, but you'll never be too poor to get saved. Amen. Because God's grace is free. Isaiah 55:1, he said, whoever one that thirsteth, let him come, he said. He that hath no money and cannot afford meat, let him come. You know, Jesus said, whosoever will, let him come and take of the water of life freely. Grace is affordable. You know, a lot of things is not affordable today, but grace is. Brother A.Y., grace is abundant. Amen. Grace is abundant. They'll tell us that we have an energy shortage, and I sometimes think that they just tell us that, and probably do. But let me tell you something. We have no shortage of grace. Amen. Grace is abundant, and grace is free. Aren't you glad of that? Brother Jerry, I'm glad that grace is abundant. It is sufficient for the time. I did a lady's funeral one time, Brother Jim, that I was 104 years old, and she got saved when she was 50 years of age. And in her funeral I said that she had been saved a Christian for 54 years. And you know, the grace of God was sufficient, and God's grace is abundant tonight. You'll never run out of grace. But what I like, God's grace is acceptable. When Christ presents you to the Father, you know, the Father will in no wise, all the Father giveth me cometh unto me, and he shall in no wise cast them out. You know, Christ makes us acceptable unto God. Amen. He makes us acceptable unto God. Grace is an acceptable thing unto God. Amen. But not only that, and I like this, Brother Jim, grace is admired by the angels in heaven. Amen. Because when you're saved by grace, you can sing Amazing Grace, and I have been redeemed before the angels and the host of heaven, and they have to listen because that you have been redeemed by the grace of God. No wonder grace is amazing. No wonder Squire Parsons wrote a song titled His Grace Still Amazes Me, because that grace is admired by the angels. Maybe I might should say it is envied by the angels of God, because we have a treasure that they do not have, and that treasure is the grace of God tonight. Amen. That treasure is the grace of God, and it is accepted by God. But I like this tonight. Grace is the arm of mercy. Amen. We used to sing the song on the radio many, many years ago on the Homer Jackson program. You know, justice called and mercy answered. And you know something? Grace is the arm of mercy. When judgment calls and mercy answers, then grace is always there. Grace reaches out, and you know, and it saves the mercy of God. Amen. If you're lost tonight, mercy is looking for you. Amen. If you're lost tonight, grace can take care of you. Not of your goodness, not of works lest any man should boast, but it's a gift of God. Not of anything good that we have done. The two went in the temple, and the one looked at the other and said, I thank you that I'm not like him. I fast, I tithe, I pray. And he also boasted a lot. Amen. And God hates a proud heart. He also boasted a lot. But let me tell you something tonight. The other not as much as lifted his eyes toward heaven, smote upon his breast and said, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. And Jesus asked, which do you suppose that God was pleased with? Which do you suppose God got glory from? And I believe it's the one that accepted the mercy of God. Amen. I believe that. Brother A.Y., I not only believe that, but I know that. I remember the last service in the old Salt Gum Church that you preached. A.Y. Mills preached the last service there. And I remember that as he extended invitation out, that Carol Smith walked out and accepted the Lord in the middle age of her life. And that was her last service.